Hello everybody, and welcome back to One Nerd to Rule Them All. And in today's video, we'll be doing something a little different. Today we are covering the lore that surrounds Tolkien himself. Many of these facts I'm sure you guys will know, but I think it's nice to do a little bit of a deep dive into the man who created the world of Middle-earth as we know and love it. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Fact number 1. Tolkien was born in South Africa. Although English by blood, Tolkien was not born in the UK, but instead in South Africa. Tolkien's father, Arthur Ruel Tolkien, was employed in a branch of a British bank in Bloemfontein in what is now the Free State province of South Africa. On January 3rd in 1892, J.R.R Tolkien was born in Bloemfontein to Arthur and his wife Mabel. He was the older of two sons and had a younger brother called Hilary Arthur Ruel Tolkien, who was born in 1894. Fact number 2. Tolkien was not known as John by his family. Despite this being his first name, his mother Mabel and those around him called him by his middle name, Ronald. Tolkien was named for both of his grandfathers, who were both called John, and his own father, whose last name was Ruel. But despite this, he was known to his family as Ronald. Fact number 3. Tolkien's friends and the clubs they formed were very important to him. Tolkien attended King Edward's School in Birmingham. While attending, Tolkien became close with a small group of boys. They were called Christopher Wiseman, Robert Gilson, and Geoffrey Batch Smith. Together, they formed the Tea Club of Bavarian Society, also known as TCBS. They were brought together by their love of Latin, Greek, and tea drinking. This group really aided Tolkien in his intellectual development in his youth. He did go on to form multiple clubs in college, both as a student and then as a teacher. Later in his life, the informal literary discussion group called the Inklings also included the likes of C.S. Lewis, the author of the Chronicles of Narnia, and Charles Williams, esteemed writer and poet. This club provided Tolkien and his friends with a platform to discuss their work. Fact number 4. Tolkien lost both of his parents early in his life, leaving him and his brother orphans. Mabel and her sons made the journey back to England in 1895. Arthur had plans to join his family later, but sadly he would never make it back to them, passing away after he fell ill with rheumatic fever in early 1896. After this, the now widowed Mabel single-handedly raised her sons, but sadly she too would pass. In 1904, Mabel was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, a condition which at that time was considered fatal. Sadly, later that same year, Mabel passed away because of her condition, leaving her sons behind. Tolkien was just 12 years old at this time. Upon her death, Mabel left the upbringing of her sons to her good friend, Father Francis Xavier Morgan, who supported Tolkien and his brother on their journey to adulthood. Fact number 5. It was whilst in Father Francis's care that Tolkien met the love of his life, Edith Bratt. Tolkien met Edith Bratt when he was 16 and she was 19, at one of the houses where Tolkien stayed with his brother after the death of their mother. They quickly struck up a lively friendship, which later blossomed into love. However, Tolkien's guardian, Father Francis, was disapproving of this relationship and insisted that Tolkien concentrate on school. Tolkien did not want to abandon his feelings for Edith now, or his pursuit of her, but eventually, Father Francis forbade his ward to see or correspond with Edith until he came of age. Tolkien did follow his orders, as Father Francis had shown kindness towards him and his brother, but because of this, the pair was separated for 3 years. During this time of enforced separation on Tolkien's part, Edith was moved away, and she became engaged to another man. As soon as Tolkien turned 21, the year that he was declared of age, he wrote a letter to his lost love, Edith. The letter contained a declaration of his love, and in it he also asked Edith to marry him. Edith had replied to this letter, saying she had recently become engaged to her friend Molly's brother, Warwickshire farmer George Field, but implied that she had only done so because she felt left on the shelf, and believed that Tolkien had forgotten her. Within a week of receiving this letter, Tolkien journeyed to Cheltenham, where Edith was living. She met him at the railway station. That same day, Edith returned her ring and announced her engagement to Tolkien instead. The couple got married with the blessing of Father Francis, not long before Tolkien was called up for the First World War. While their married life was not without day-to-day frictions, Tolkien and Edith remained devoted to each other until her death in 1971. A fun fact, it was Edith who inspired the character of Luthien and later Arwen in Tolkien's works, going as far as to have Luthien engraved on her tombstone. For Tolkien, Edith was everything that Luthien was described to be. She was the most beautiful creature ever created, and thus Luthien had to be also. Luthien was an older but effortlessly beautiful elf in his book, and was described as the most beautiful of all the children of Ilúvatar to ever live. After Tolkien's death, he was buried with his beloved wife, having the name Beren engraved in the stone as well, symbolising that he saw himself as the human man that the immortal princess fell in love with, the same creature that he would go on perilous journeys to have as his wife. It is thought that their separation was also the inspiration for the tale of the Silmarillion. Fact number 6. Tolkien fought in the First World War. During the war, Tolkien signed up and specialised in signalling to utilise his penchant for words. He was sent to the front in France in 1916, during the Battle of the Somme. He experienced the horrors of trench warfare firsthand, but remained unhurt. He was finally sent back to England when he contracted trench fever, and was unwell for most of the rest of the duration of the war. Fact number 7. Christopher Wiseman and his other companion soldiers were Tolkien's main inspiration for the character of Samwise Gamgee. The First World War left profound marks on Tolkien's life. He lost all but one of his TCBS friends to it. Only Tolkien and his friend Christopher Wiseman reunited after the war. He was humbled and awestruck by the courage of the common English soldier. According to Carpenter, Tolkien later wrote, "My Sam Gamgee is indeed a reflection of the English soldier, the private and batman I knew in the 1914 war, and recognised as so far superior to myself." Fact number 8. Tolkien's mother ignited in him his passion for languages. Tolkien's mother was his first teacher. She introduced him to the basics of Latin before he even started school, and from this, his lifelong passion for languages was ignited. Mabel also nurtured his interest in plant life by instructing him in botany. Once she returned to England, Mabel converted to Catholicism despite opposition, and the Catholic faith remained an important part of Tolkien's life. Fact number 9. The languages came first. By 1917, Tolkien had developed Quenya, an Elvish language that he had invented to a great degree of sophistication. From it emerged another Elvish language that we know to be called Sindarin. But creating a language wasn't enough. Now it required a history to be truly alive. Tolkien's quest to uncover the history of the languages he invented, and his grand ambition to create a mythology for England, led to the inception of the Silmarillion. Finally, fact number 10. Tolkien considered himself to be a hobbit. Of all the fictional beings that Tolkien had created, Tolkien identified with hobbits the most. In Carpenter's biology, he's reported to have written, "I am in fact a hobbit, in all but size. I like gardens, trees, and unmerchandised farmlands. I smoke a pipe, and I like good plain food, unrefrigerated, but detest French cooking. I like and even dare to wear in these dull days ornamental waistcoats. I am fond of mushrooms out of the field, have a very simple sense of humour, which even my appreciative critics find tiresome. I go to bed late and get up late when possible, and I do not travel much." This brings us to the end of today's video. I want to do something a little different, but still lore focused, and I enjoyed doing a deep dive into the professor's background, and covering facts that I'm sure some of you may or may not know. Down in the description below, you'll find 2 links. The first to my other half Rothmer's channel, so if you enjoy MMOs and action RPGs, then please feel free to check that out. And if you enjoy all things Warhammer and building and painting nerdy things, then might I recommend our joint channel called Nerdy Miniatures, where we do just that. Anyway, that'll be it from me today. Hope you guys have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, bye for now.